Hello, family and friends and everybody who's watching this. It probably says my name. I'm Nicole Miller, and it's been a week, okay? It's been a crazy week, so I thought I'd update everybody, but also I thought I would, I know this is weird. I just kind of thought I'm just going to videotape myself talking to save money on therapy. No, no, I thought if I videotape me telling my story now, like in a few months, if I forgot a detail, I could come back. And first off, most of you are aware that we had a major medical trauma in our family a week ago with my husband, Lee, and just everyone has been so supportive, and just so many positive things that happened. I just wanted to thank everybody. If you prayed, or if you sent food, or if you are about to send food, or so many people reached out to me about setting things up. I just want to thank everybody just for caring. This is, as the media puts it, unprecedented times. Meaning, of course, we have, on top of everything else happening, we have this virus that we're worried about. And so it's just been super stressful. And I just want to, I want to hug everybody, and I want to give, all the handshakes and, all that stuff. And it's hard to know what to do. What to do. I don't want to get anyone sick. I don't want to get sick on top of everything else that's going on. So definitely, I think most importantly, I just want to say thank you. I've tried to do that individually, but if I somehow miss somebody, just thank you so much. Lee and I have felt so much love, and I know a lot of it was at a distance, and I totally understand. That's okay. That is okay. I just thank you so much for all of the prayers, thoughts. We need, and we continue to need them all. And I just thought I would just share my side of the story, what happened, because I know it didn't really happen to me, but it was kind of probably one of those moments in my life that I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. And so I thought if I said it now, I will maybe remember more. And it's hard to know where to begin, because now that we know that Lee has a heart attack, it's like, oh wait, maybe we should have gone to the hospital in March when, COVID was starting, and you just had a little something, and he would have a little pressure or something, and he thought it was anxiety. Would listen to music, and sometimes he'd be like, just hug me, and I would hug him, and it would go away. I thought that was anxiety. I would have been the wife that would make him go, you're going to the doctor. I am pro medicine, okay? But since it would go away, we honestly thought it was anxiety, something that maybe, we'd wait till the virus got a little less scary and he'd go get it taken care of. But Labor Day weekend was awesome. We went camping. Unbeknownst to me, I guess Lee was having a little more chest discomfort. And then Tuesday he went to work, which that Tuesday was like a Monday, and I read something about that. I read something about the first day of the week going to work, something about that in Hearts. They don't like that. They don't like that. And he works at a huge campus. It's 166 acres. So at lunch every day, he does this walking trail as part of his lunchtime routine. And so he's walking, and he thinks he's having a panic attack because, you know, the last couple months with, you know, COVID and just, you know, regular anxiety issues creeping up, we thought for sure he had just had a little extra anxiety. And I guess he did talk to his supervisor, and they decided he'd go to the doctor, but he came home and he said, I think I should go to the doctor. And I was like, yeah, go to the doctor. And then he went to the urgent care because we were like, this is anxiety. Maybe they can prescribe you something. The urgent care saw on his EKG, how they explained it was, you're not having a heart attack, but it looks like maybe at one point you did. So you should probably go to the ER. You don't, you know, you could follow up with your doctor. It was like they gave him an option. They gave him an option, but he felt like they were pointing him to the ER. They did not call 911 and get him an ambulance to the ER, which I don't know why not. But he got in his car from the urgent care, came back home, packed up for the night because they thought, you know, maybe he had had a heart attack, so perhaps you'll need to be observed. And I've been observed, so I got it. I was like, okay, yeah, let's get you ready to go. Since COVID and everything, I knew I couldn't go to the ER. It's just going to be one person. So Lee drove himself to the ER, checked in, got triaged, and that EKG said he was totally fine. And with all of his symptoms, they were like, yeah, that panic anxiety thing, that sounds right. So they gave him Ativan and sent him to the ER waiting room. Where he proceeded to call me. And he was explaining everything, and I was like, they gave you Ativan? When did they give you Ativan? Now, look, I'm not a doctor, okay? But I've had about half of the diseases, so... And I've had most of the drugs. Some of them are good, let me tell you. So I knew immediately when he said he had had Ativan, and he was nauseous and sweating and thinking he was having the worst panic attack ever. I was like, none of this sounds right. You need to tell somebody. And I about asked him to like give his phone, because I'm on the phone with him while he's in the ER waiting room. Like I almost said, just let me talk to someone for you. Because like at the same time, it just is so frustrating that I can't be there, you know? I normally I would have been right there by his side. So like I said, I wanted him to give the phone to someone, but I did hear him say what was happening, and unfortunately, they did tell him he wasn't the only person in the ER having chest pains. But at this time, like his EKG had popped up normal. So after waiting for an hour, having a heart attack in the ER waiting room, they did get him into the ER, like, you know how eventually you find a room. And they hooked him back up, thank goodness, because right away, and I wasn't there, so this is my understanding of what happened from how Lee explained it. They put the leads back on, and immediately things were happening, lighting up, and the nurse turned and walked into the hallway and said, we need everybody in here right now. Because he was right then having a massive heart attack in the ER because it was already happening in their waiting room. So he had prior to this, he had been on the phone with me, but you know, with him going back and all, we got off the phone. I was real confused, but also he was so sure, because the triage EKG was normal, he was so sure this was anxiety and panic, and he was worried about dumb things like, how am I going to get my car home from the ER, just normal everyday stuff. And I had just been like, we'll figure it out, don't worry about it. But at the same time, the way he sounded and all of his symptoms, I knew something wasn't right. I just didn't know how wrong it was. And so we had been off the phone for 10 minutes, and I didn't know what was happening, just thinking they're going to give him more Ativan, or it's like a panic attack. I don't know. So as I'm waiting, that's when like the EKG's lighting up and stuff. And he asked the ER nurse to call his wife, that's me, and I got that phone call. I got that phone call that everybody like dreads, but I guess you're supposed to like prepare for it, but I'm like 30. And so I wasn't like prepared for it. And earlier while he was in the waiting room, he just wanted me to like talk about our day, and it was a really quick day. And so I ran out of material real fast, and I was just super concerned, and nothing was making sense. That honestly, I felt real bad about this. He was just like, so what's on the TV right now? And my daughter Bella was watching The Office, and I was like, well, in retrospect, as he's having a myocardial infarction, Michael Scott is driving Pam to the hospital, and he's texting. She's about to give birth, and, just real dumb. And I felt so bad because we hung up, and I was just like, oh, I could have done better with this phone call, and I just felt like a horrible wife. And then I get the phone call. Mrs. Miller, this is, I don't know, some white lady named Kelsey, Chelsea, Kinsley, I don't know. They're all the same, I'm going to be honest. I'm in the ER with your husband, and he is having a heart attack, and he wants to talk to you. Okay, like, I guess on some level, this could be the last conversation with this person. Like, not this person, but the person, people. The person. He is the person. If you believe everyone has a person, Lee's my person. And, thank God we had such a weird conversation before where I didn't know what was happening, and it was just regrettably super super boring. And I just felt real bad about it, because as soon as I hung up the first conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, we should have been talking about, future plans. And we love doing that. We love planning vacations, whether they're going to happen in 5 or 10 years. So Chelsea, Kelsey, Kinsley, some white girl, ER nurse calls Mrs. Miller. Your husband wants to talk to you. He's in the ER having a heart attack. So I just say, remember when we went to Hawaii? We're gonna do that again. We're gonna go, and I kind of reminded him of a funny, odd story in Hawaii, and about how how we've already been planning to go to Hawaii. So it's gonna happen. Like, maybe we should do it sooner rather than later or something. And it was just all abrupt because I know this now. Obviously, I was on the phone. As I was telling him that story, they were just completely removing all of his clothing to take him straight into a heart cath to get a stent. He had 2 100% blockages, a 90% blockage, and they put a stent in, did a temporary pacemaker, because they honestly didn't know if what they did would keep his heart beating. And it's just so left field, because like, he's not the one with health problems. I'm the one with health problems. Like, what are you doing? Trying to die on me. Like, all he's had is like a kidney stone in his whole entire life. And just super left field. They've decided to let him recuperate for a month. So what that means is he has an artery that's completely blocked, and they're going to do a they were thinking a stent for that too, but they've decided there's another procedure that's, I guess it works better for long term. I'm not a cardiologist. I just confuse them in the ER. So this bypass is going to happen like in a month. So basically, they sent Lee home from the hospital, and they said he's at a very high risk of just dropping dead. To be honest, that's kind of where he's at, because he has this blocked artery. So he's wearing this vest, and it monitors his heart 24/7. If anything happens where he needs to be defibrillated, it actually is a defibrillator too. So that's kind of like, when you know that, like, he basically has to wear a defibrillator, it's pretty heavy to realize that's the way they let him leave the hospital, is like, we'll let you leave if you have a defibrillator on your body. So he's obviously not going to work until the surgery, and then after the surgery, it's going to be another 6 weeks maybe. So he's going to be out of work for 2.5 months, maybe more. We're just really thankful right now that he's here. He's just, he's going through so much. This vest, ladies, it's worse than a bra, okay? He's never wore a bra before. I mean, remember wearing bras, girls? That was horrible. So he's learning, he's like, this is uncomfortable. I'm trying not to tell him, yeah. But, so that's, it's super uncomfortable, but also, he gets it. He probably needs to make sure his heart doesn't stop working suddenly. He's on a ton of medicine. It's like overnight we became this old retired couple, because I'm like, did you take your pills, honey? And here's your insulin. It's like, remember the day before everything shut down from COVID and everything was normal? Remember that? It's like I'm going through that again, where we just had this normal life, and then like that, everything's changed. I know a lot of people are surprised, how does this happen? Lee's young. He's 35. Obviously he's a bigger guy. He kind of has this football player physique, but he's not so overweight. And the doctors are just like, look, if you don't want to have heart problems, pick new parents. So it's all in your genes. It's just, crazy that he didn't know until basically his whole, like all of his arteries were plugged up. I just, I don't know. It's just been so crazy. I took him home from the hospital, and he's just like my young, healthy husband, you know, and now he looks great. He's doing great for what he's been through, but you know, you can tell he's real, you know, he has to go real slow, and we're just, obviously it's only been a week, so we're just like taking it day by day, and I know he'll get better. His heart, actually is just working at like 50% right now, and we're just gonna keep checking on it, and the doctors don't know, like, is it always gonna be working 50%, or, you know, what's up with that? And I'm just trying to give him a real good, like, convalescent time, if you will. I don't know if many of you are aware of my story. I had a huge medical issue as well. So, like, this is not about me. Like, right now, it's about Lee. But I feel like capable of taking care of somebody who's been in a near-death experience. Because when I was 21, I did go to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. Okay, that's kind of important. It was like when I laid down, I couldn't breathe, and I was like sweating, and the doctors were fighting, like, what are we gonna do with Nicole? Oh, she's fine. Just give her more medicine. I had been having difficulty breathing for a year, and they wanted to give me more medicine, and my mom was like, no, look at her, she's like dying. I don't know, she could see me, I couldn't see me, so I guess I looked like I was dying. And finally a surgeon was like, yeah, let's just open her up and see. There's this membrane around your heart called the pericardium. Looks inflamed, so what we can do is just like take that off, and then maybe that'll help you breathe. And the downside to that is I needed a midline abbreviated sternotomy, which is fancy doctor talk for sawing open my chest. So I have a zipper scar from my sternotomy when I was 21. You know how all the cool 20-year-olds get awesome not tattoos, scars. I didn't get a tattoo. I went all the way, okay? Not getting a tattoo. I'm gonna go get a scar, all right? I'm not gonna mess around with something that can be erased. So I had that surgery. It was, I think I know the date, February 6, 2003. Saw it open, they looked inside. I was actually out, so I'm not aware. Like, this is just what was told to me. They looked in there, they were gonna take off my pericardium, that thin membrane, and that's when they realized, holy gee, for over a year you've had a tumor growing inside your chest. It was a Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 3B. That's cancer. So I was a different person, okay, like a different last name. I had a different house, a different place. So when I went home from the hospital, it was not a good situation. I was not going to go into details. I was treated horribly by my caretaker. So I've learned. And here's the kicker. Months I was treated horribly. This is what I was thinking that whole time, is like, I cannot wait for this guy to get some illness so I can treat him well and just show him how you should be treated. That's what I was thinking, like, how crazy am I? Anyway, I shouldn't have thought that though. But so fast forward, I'm in a good situation. My husband loves me. I love him. So we'll just see. So far, all the doctors are like, telling stories of people like, oh, I know someone who had a stent and he's lived 30 years, and like telling all these stories of people living on past stents. And then it occurred to me like, oh, okay, this is, I guess it occurred to me right then like, oh, I guess there's a possibility, or I think there's a possibility he's not going to survive. I just hadn't, my mind hadn't gone there. My mind's not able to go, like, there's no world in which my husband does not exist. So that's been kind of eye-opening right there. When people just keep trying to explain to you, like, you're not gonna die, that's when it's like, oh, wait, should I worry about dying? It's just, like I said, I had a big experience years ago, so I feel like, you know, I caught on back then, like, oh, you know, I might die, and now I'm catching on with my husband. Like, they're saying these words in a way that makes me think we should be worried. By saying we shouldn't be worried, if that makes sense. Don't be worried. Other people have survived. I guess I just wanted people to know, like, we really appreciate, and so many people have reached out, even just to be like, I'm praying for you. We appreciate it. I can't tell you how many times I heard, like, I couldn't sleep Tuesday, looked on Facebook, I saw about your husband, and so I prayed, and I just feel like that really helped the situation. I know I have had some kind of, I don't know, I just feel like I have not dealt with this in a way that I should. I feel like I should be a puddle, and I've just been able to, I think, be there for Lee. I hope he would say that. And that's kind of my goal. It's just, I'm just trying to be here for Lee. And, you know, when he has a worry, just don't worry about that. We'll figure it out. Literally every time my mind goes to, okay, I was staying home with children and he can't go to work right now. You know, someone will send even just a couple bucks in a Cash App, and it's just like, okay, I know that's not the full electric bill, but I could just breathe a little easier. Like I said, we're just not sure how long he's gonna be out of work, and we'll just figure this out. And just want to thank you guys, and thank you for everyone commenting. Heather and Michelle, and Heather, I haven't seen you since like college, and it's just so nice. Like, people I miss and I haven't seen forever. Just to know, like, you know, I've been thinking about you. You know, have you been thinking about me? I don't know. Have you? Are we still? Just to know people that I liked still like me. I don't know. Sometimes you don't know. And Michelle Van Dusen was super supportive. We do some comedy together, and I didn't know who else. When everything was happening, I didn't know what was happening right away and what I should post or not. And so just messaging her was so helpful, because I'm just like, I don't really know what's happening. And Michelle's just, thank you, Michelle, so much. So many times today I was like, I need to message Michelle a thank you. So this is my message. Thank you, Michelle. She knows what she did, and she did way more. I just feel, I'm like telling myself, okay, well, if this happened to Michelle, I would do the same thing. I'm like, I promise. Just don't let anything like this ever happen to you guys, okay? Yes, DTF. Drama television film. My goodness. Could ORU pick a worse acronym for drama television film? Ugh. And Kathy Kane, thank you so much. I haven't seen you guys in forever. We know you guys know how to pray because you guys have been through it too. And the Finks, thank you for praying and everything that you guys are doing. We miss Tom and Lisa Fink so much. We miss you guys. And, you know, I think, like I mentioned earlier, and I'll just say it again, it's a hard time to do anything. And it's a hard time to go to the ER. It's a hard time to go to the hospital. And so that whole time I'm like trying to care for Lee and worry about Lee, but I'm also concerned about, do I have a face mask? Am I going to get COVID? Yesterday, I hadn't seen, well, most people might be aware I have 2 daughters from my first marriage, and so they're with me every other day, every other weekend. It's kind of crazy, so I haven't seen her all weekend. I pick her up on Tuesday, runny nose, cough, and it's like congestion, and I'm thinking, I just picked up COVID with my husband sitting in the van, and he has heart failure, schools are back in session, so anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. I'm just saying, when you have a big medical issue you're dealing with, it's a lot of stress. And then now we have to worry about, okay, does my child have COVID? Do I have COVID? Does the person who's ill, do they have COVID? Let's try to keep them from having COVID. It's just a mess. And I think my sink is leaking. The little things like COVID and leaky sinks, they're a lot bigger during times like this. Anyway, I kind of feel like I should apologize for talking so much, but it was just good just to get that out and just to talk about how, I don't even know, like I want to tell you my takeaway, like this was a big moment in my life. I had that conversation on the phone. It could have been my last conversation with the person I love most. And I just, it's almost a feeling where I can't even put into words. And I just already knew this because I had cancer when I was 21, and I've lived my whole life with this, it's this feeling, and it's so hard to, if you just don't know, if you've never been there, it's so hard to put into words. This is it. As a theater person, I guess it's like, there is no dress rehearsal. This was it, And I just, like I said, I just feel so full of definitely emotion. Sorry, guys. I'm so weepy, but I just want to give you something. I guess it would be just, don't give up, If all good things come to an end, then the adverse has to be true, right? I'm like trying to convince myself that all bad things come to an end, right? It's gotta be that way. If all good things come to an end, then all bad things come to an end. I've been through just so much stuff, and it's hard because it's hard to put into words what I've been through, because I love making people laugh. I love making people happy. And a lot of things I've been through are just the opposite. But it's just taught me that you have to always look on the bright side. And you have to cherish the people you love, and don't waste time. I'm gonna say it. Don't like go to a job that you hate. Like, pay your bills and figure it out, but don't spend your 25, 30-year life. I was 21 and I almost died at 21. My husband's 35. He almost dropped dead at 35. You don't have time. You don't have time to waste. So many people felt this at the beginning of COVID, where just all of a sudden, like, their lives completely changed and they realized. Like, that's possible. That your life can just totally change in an instant, or it could be gone in an instant. And I know we don't want to think of that, but I feel like that's kind of what came out of all this. So maybe I should say that. Don't waste your life. That being said, I could have died when I was 21, but I decided to go into comedy afterwards, so not really taking my own advice. I've taken up your guys' time too much, and I just, one more time, in case you missed it, thank you for praying. Lee is here for now. You guys have a great evening. Thank you for continuing to pray. We'll let you know whenever he has his big major surgery, and just, have a great night.